and welcome to another PAX East 2022 Roundup. I'm your hostess, Druidspire, and I'm here with Asterigos Curse of the Stars. This game was one I hadn't actually planned on checking out. It was announced at PAX East this year by the folks. It's published by tinyBuild, and it is developed by Acme Gamestudio with a release date of fall 2022. This game is basically you're playing Hild, a young heroine who has been told she is not to go wandering to this cursed city of Office to find out what's going on. And so, of course, that's exactly what you wind up doing. The game is a very lush color palette. It kind of does put me in the sort of Greek-like, Roman-like, mythology-like sort of setting. Kind of reminds me of Immortals Phoenix Rising, but also maybe a little bit of Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, as a lot of games do. This one doesn't have as much open world content as that. The pathways in the demo that I tried out were all pretty straightforward. It's like, these are the paths you can go on. There's plenty of things to discover in the game regardless. Things like potions, there's side quests, optional bosses you can fight. The boss fights are actually really, really cool. For example, the first one I ran into in the demo, there's two of them, I believe, in the demo that they had on the show floor. One of them was this big honking alligator crocodile kind of thing. And it was basically kind of like you stood there and you fought, you dodged, you fought, you dodged, you stay, don't stand in the stupid kind of, gameplay. And it was actually really interesting and fascinating to see what sort of things would work on which bosses. Your character has a lot of different weapons that she can use, and she can interchange them on the fly. You click a little button here, you can use this thing, you hit this button, you charge up your weapon, you can, flip things in and out as the game merited. For example, there were these casters at one point, casting some sort of ritual. Going up to them with a sword, probably not in your best interest because, people at range, you want to get them at range. If they'd already closed it with you in melee, then you switch to a melee weapon and wail on them. It's actually, the combat itself was pretty straightforward. There was a couple little things. It was controller based, so there's a couple little things you had to, kind of figure out as to how, which buttons to press to do which sort of combos. And it wasn't like a lot of in-depth combos. It was really intended to be more of an exploration game. Look at all the nooks and crannies, do a little bit of flower sniffing on the way. And yeah, the character is, your typical, unusually a redhead. Greeks and Romans were not really well known for their red hair. That was more of a Celtic thing. But you're like a Celtic-looking girl in a Roman-looking town, with designs that were out, definitely inspired by, Celtic art history. A little bit of sci-fi, a little bit of fantasy in here, and just basically a really rich series of colors. As you can see, she can wield a staff. She's really a good fighter. She could go sword and board. She can use, ranged attacks. She could use a spear. She can use bow and arrow. She's pretty well skilled. I don't know why her dad or uncle or whoever the male figure said, don't go in there, was all about don't go in there, because she can kick ass. Come on, let's face it. Really, really fun game. And she could take on a lot of enemies at the same time. Obviously pick your targets, get some of them down, then get some of the other ones down, drop an AoE, life is good. Didn't really get to see much about the actual story beyond you were told to stay behind and you didn't, because that's what you do, right? That's what you do as the hero or heroine, is your parental figure goes to find out, goes to investigate whatever the mystery is, and you don't hear from them and bad things start happening, so you're gonna go out on your own adventure to find out what's going on in this city. And apparently, this game only features this one major city called Office, and you're supposed to just basically fight your way through it, and you can, explore the city itself. the city is cursed. I mean, it's called the Cursed City of Office for a reason. So you need to find out what's actually going on. What is the truth? Why is it cursed? What's the curse all about? What is the deal? And apparently they have more than 60 different enemies and 22 separate bosses in the main story and side quests. And apparently, according to some of the choices you make at certain dialogue boxes, you will change what happens next. The game really didn't go into much detail about this, so I guess it's something we'll all discover when it comes out. And there's a whole pile of things you can collect, side quests, and apparently they are also doing the New Game Plus mode on there. So it's a bit of an action RPG, a lot of fun. It is a little graphics intensive, so you're going to want some, in these days of 150 gigabyte downloads, isn't that big deal. It weighs in at 30. So not that really wacky, but they do recommend that you probably will want a heftier graphics card for it, at least an NVIDIA RTX 2060 or an AMD 5700 XT. That's the recommended. The minimum are a lot less than that, so you're not going to need a beast of a computer to play it on PC, but it is also available on console as well, or else you can just hook up a controller to your PC. It is supported in 11 languages, but only fully voiced in English. It is a single-player game. It will have Steam achievements, and will be savable on Steam Cloud. So a little bit of an interesting game to check out. A little bit in the vein of Legend of Zelda, but a little bit more directed. Kind of like a little bit of the colors of the newer Zelda games. Like, maybe Breath of the Wild, but down a little notch, right? But yet about as, I would say, the gameplay loop the path is pretty much the same as, say, Link to the Past, where you can't go certain places until you do certain things first and unlock those particular options. So it looked like a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun playing it. Definitely wanted to try it again, but it was unfortunately the end of the show by that point. So I'm like, don't have time. But yeah. It was doing some pretty brisk business at the show floor, so it looks like there's a lot of good interest in it. So, if you like this video, toss me a like and subscribe to the channel and check out my other PAX East videos, and hopefully I'll have some more short-form videos of other games that I'm playing in the near future, and also you can check out my long-form videos of my MMO gameplay. If you have any questions, drop me a comment in the channel, and I'll see what I can do to answer it. Alrighty, have a great day. Thanks for watching.